ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जयो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री श्री राधा गोविंद की जय, श्री श्री गौर निताई की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Unit 3, elevation through the modes. The 13th chapter, it is speaking about the material nature, Kshetra Kshetrajna Yoga, that is about the field of activity and the knower of the field, the knowledge and the object of knowledge. In the next chapter, 14th chapter, Krishna explains what is the cause of bondage. 13th chapter has explained us how the material world is working, and this 14th chapter will explain how the living entities are getting entangled through the three modes, that is conditioning, characteristics, action and death in the three modes. Then next continues how to transcend these three modes, that is continuing further. This is the first shloka of 14th chapter, entanglement in modes. It has also been explained that it is due to association with the modes of nature that the living entity is entangled in this material world. Now in this chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead explains what those modes of nature are, how they act, how they bind, and how they give liberation. So all these points are discussed here. What these modes are, that means the three modes we will be studying about, and how they are influencing us, how they are acting on us, and how they are binding us, and then how to come out of these three modes, the effect of three modes. That is the subject matter of today's discussion. In the 13th chapter, 22nd shloka says that Purusha prakritistohi bhunkte prakritijan gunan. The living entity in matter enjoys nature-born modes, that is goodness, passion, and ignorance. These are the three modes. The living entity are entangled within these three modes of nature. Karanam Gunasangosya Sadasat Yoni Janmasu. Cause association, good, bad. When we are in association of these three guna, the goodness, passion, and ignorance, Sattva guna, Rajo guna, and Tamo guna, based on that is association, Guna Sangha. The living entity will get either good birth or bad. Either he will go to the heavenly planet if he is cultivating the Sattva guna or goodness, or he will remain within this material world if he is having Rajoguna, or he will go to the animal kingdom if he is developing the passion, the Tamoguna or ignorance. But having all the three guna within us, there is always a competition. Sattvam Rajas Tama iti guna prakriti sambhava. Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Nibadnanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes. So these three modes are present in each and every person. These modes are present in every living entity. All the three modes are present in all the conditioned living entity who are present in this material world. But the difference is all the three modes are not active all the time. At a time, any one of the mode will be present or it will be visible. So there is always a competition between the three modes. So when the goodness is more active, then the person becomes more pious. And when the passion or Rajoguna is more active, then he will be working too hard or he will be very passionate. And then when he is in ignorance, he will be very dull and he will be in a lethargic condition. So in this way, the three modes will be visible in a person, and whatever mode he develops, accordingly he will act. Now coming to the Bhagavad Gita book, please open the Bhagavad Gita book. This is the 14th chapter. So first, Krishna will glorify the knowledge that he is going to explain now. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Param bhuya pravakshami jnananam jnanamuttamam yajñatva munaya sarve param siddhim yatogata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. So this is before starting the explanation for the knowledge that he is going to explain. He will glorify that knowledge, because by knowing this knowledge, a person can escape from the cage of this material existence. The material energy is acting based on these three modes, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. And any person who understands how these three modes are acting, he can easily come out of this. This is like a person who is in the prison house. He is learning how to come out of the prison house by developing good character, and one day he will be able to get released from the prison house. Idam jnanam upashritya mama sadharmyam agataha sargepi nopajayante pralayena vyatanti cha. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. So by knowing this knowledge, by which a person can get liberated himself from the three modes, he will escape from the birth and death, the cycle of birth and death, and there is no rebirth for him once he gives up the present material body which he is having. So there is no diminish. He will not be destroyed at anymore. That particular death will become his last death, and he will be going back to Godhead, because he has already understood how the material energy is working, and he has understood the process of escaping the material bondage. Now, Krishna is explaining how the living entity is coming in contact with the material energy. The living entity, how they are made, that is explained in the previous chapter, the Mahatattva and the Pancha Mahabhuta, the 5 elements, and the senses, the sense objects, all these things are explained. That is all about the creation. Now here, this is about the bondage. When a living entity takes shelter in a particular body, how this living entity gets entangled in this material world. Because entanglement means the person will forget what he is, and he will accept something false which he is not. Because that the ignorance will come from 2 sides. That is, first of all, the person will forget what he is. That is, the living entity, I am a Jivatma, or I am the soul. That is forgotten. Okay, if that's all, if it is that's all, then it's fine. Because if I think that what I am not, then there is a question what I am actually. Then there is a chance for inquiry, or a person can become curious to know what he is. But the ignorance will cover our knowledge in such a way that we will also think what I am not. So the question which comes to us, if I know that I am what I am not, that is, I am the soul, I have forgotten it. Then on top of that, the material energy will give some other designation to me, so that I will not get any question. I'll get satisfied with that itself. I think that I am human being. I am a male. I am the living entity. I am the. I have many people around me. I have many parents, my society, my nation. All these are the designations that the material energy will give us. It makes us to unable to think what I am actually. It is called doubly we are ignorant. I don't know actually, and also I don't know that I don't know. In this way, the ignorance is covering us in 2 ways. So at least if I know that there is something which I don't know, then there is a chance that I may endeavor to understand what I don't know. But if I forget that I am in ignorance, and I think that whatever I know, that itself is correct, then there is no chance for inquiry, or there is no chance for jijnasa. So in this way, the living entity, he gets entangled within this material energy. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata. The living entities, they are present in the body of the Lord, the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And when the creation happens, when the day of Brahma begins, the Brahma creates so many bodies, and this body will be placed with the living entity. The living entities are placed within the body of this living entity, the Brahma, whatever body he has created. Within that body, the living entities are placed by the Lord himself. So that's why he is telling here, Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma Tasmin Garbham Dadhamyaham Sambhava Sarva Bhutanam Tato Bhavanti Bharata. So in this way, the Lord keeps all the living beings in different types of body. There are 84 lakh species of life. And these all bodies, why there are so many varieties of body? It is because the living entity has different kinds of modes and they have different types of desires. As Prabhupada explains in a place that the painter who is painting, he can create any kind of color if he is expert. But originally, there are only 3 colors. We say RGB, red, green, blue. So these are the original colors. But if we are making a painting, there are n number of colors that he can create. Similarly, the 3 modes, basically they are only 3. But when there are mixture of these modes. In different animals, we can see different types of modes to different extent. Through that, the living entity can get 84 lakh species of life. This is the expertise of a painter or the expertise of this material energy. It makes everything looks so much of variety and so much of opportunity, so many possibilities. The person can have different types of body. As a person, if he develops desire for flying in the air, he will get a body of a bird. If he wants to swim in the water, he will get a body of the fish. Or if he wants to jump from one tree to another, he will become a monkey. So in this way, there are a number of bodies that are created based on the mode that the living entity is having. Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavantiya tasam brahma mahadhyonir aham brahm bija pradapita. So it should be understood that all species of life are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed giving father. Krishna is the one who glances over this material energy, and by doing so, he is making the things possible. All the living entities takes birth, or they will get the body according to their mode and desire by Lord Krishna himself. That is that's why he is called as seed giving father. He is the original father of all the living entities. Now next continues how the living entity gets bound within this. How the living entity gets bound. The Sattva Guna is also binding, Rajoguna is also binding, and Tamoguna is also binding the living entity through different ways. Sattvam Rajastama iti guna prakriti sambhava nibhadnanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. Material nature consists of 3 modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with this nature, O mighty Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these 3 modes. So how they are getting bound? The mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. All the 3 modes are binding, as we have heard earlier. This can be explained by taking example of a handcuff. The police will put the chain on the hand so that the thief will not be able to run. Now, this chain, do you want this to be made of gold, or this to be made of silver, or this to be made of iron? If these 3 choices are given, we should understand that there is no possibility for escaping. That condition is already fixed. You will be bound. But only thing is, you can choose either you want to be bound with the gold or silver or iron. In the same way, either a person is in the ignorance, or he is in the mode of passion, or in the mode of goodness. All the 3 are binding. But it is binding to different extent. When we are bound with the Sattva Guna or the goodness, the life, the life the living entity is living, it will be more pleasurable, or he will be more happy and he is more knowledgeable. But if he situates within that mode itself, then there is a chance of gliding down, or he will get caught in the material energy once again. Among the three modes, Sattva-guna or goodness is the best, because it will create a situation, or it will give a very good opportunity so that he can come out of all the three modes. That's called Vishuddha Sattva. In that Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam, Vasudeva Sattva. In that state, the living entity is completely free, and he is not at all bound with any of the nature, any of the mode. Then what is the problem with this goodness? If a person is getting satisfied within this goodness, then there is a danger. He will not go further. We can see this kind of people in the society. They are very happy. They are living a very peaceful life, pious life. But if you ask them, can you please read Bhagavad Gita? You can understand more about Krishna, or practice spirituality. They say, no, this is enough. Whatever we are doing, regular puja at home, we are doing, and they are just attached to the rituals they are doing, and whatever pious credit they have, they are enjoying it. But there is a danger of death, and there is a danger of again falling down. How this is falling? Happiness and knowledge. So when a person is happy, and if he is negligent, then he will become lazy, because there is no hard work. Generally, the living entity works hard when he is in danger, or when he is in need of something. But he is already happy, then he will become lazy, then it will glide to ignorance. And when a person is very knowledgeable, and if that knowledge is used, it is not used for service of Krishna, then he will develop ego. It is generally seen when a person is not a devotee and he is very much knowledgeable, then there is a kind of ego, that he is false ego, that he will develop, and this will result in the Rajoguna, or mode of passion. Then again he will get bound, and there is a degradation of the consciousness. So it is always good to have goodness, good to be in the mode of goodness, but one should not stay there. One should continue to the Krishna conscious state. Now, how Rajoguna is binding us? Rajo ragatmakam viddhi trishna sanga samudbhavam tannibadhanti kaunteya karma sangena dehinam. Karma sanga, that is through the activity, acting too much. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive actions. Material fruitive actions. The mode of passion. So when a person is passionate, he has a lot of desires. He is longing for something. I want to get this. I want to achieve this. If I don't achieve this, I will not be happy. If I get it, I will be happy. So that is his mentality. So for that, he will work day and night continuously. That is fruitive action. And if he is not getting the result of his activity, then he gets frustrated. Then he will lose control over himself. The activity is done in goodness as well. But what is the difference between the activity done in goodness and passion is, in goodness, the person will first think before acting. But in passion, the person will act first, then he will think whether it is correct or not. That is the passionate nature of the living entity. In society also, we can see the people are running after so many desires in their life, without thinking that whether people who already achieved this goal, are they happy? Please check whether a person who has a lot of money, is he happy? Or a person who made a lot of fame or some achievement, material achievement, are they really happy? Just check whether this is the goal of life. Will that make you happy in life? They have no time to think about it. Even if somebody tells them, they are not ready to listen. These are the people who are in Rajoguna. Most of the people who are in the society, they all are in Rajoguna only. They always work hard, and they think, or they make the philosophy that if you work hard, you can become happy. If you don't work, then you will be suffering. But that is not true. A person, if he is pleasing Krishna, then he will be always happy. And if he is not pleasing to Krishna, or if he is not working for Krishna, then whatever hard work he may do, he can achieve some material possession, but it will not give him the permanent happiness. There are many people who achieve big goals in their life, but if you go and ask them, are you happy after doing this all? They say no, this is not the happiness. Later they'll realize and they try something else. But this is called acting in passion. But a person in goodness, he will think, is it really necessary to work so hard here? I am working since morning 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 o'clock. I am working honestly, and whatever I am getting, I am happy. I am able to manage myself, and I am able to manage or I am able to contribute to the people who are dependent on me. It's all manageable. It's going on, and I'm also able to do my chanting and my devotional activities. Yes, everything is going fine. Then is there any need for working from morning 8 o'clock to night 10 or 11 o'clock? And some people take 2-3 jobs or 2-3 businesses they are running, and they have no time to eat. They have a lot of money, they have a lot of facility, but they don't have time. They eat in different odd times, or they'll skip the food, and they just lose their health. And after that, to regain the health, they will spend whatever money they have spent, they have earned. So earning and spending will go. So is it making happy? Just observe the people who are already in that state. So this is the nature of a person who is in goodness. Then next, continuing to the person who is in tamoguna. Tamastu ajnanajam vidhi mohanam sarvadehinam. Pramadalasya nidrabis tannibadnati bharata. O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness or ignorance, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. An ignorant person, he is lazy, he is lethargic, he doesn't work, and he will be depending on others, or he will try to exploit others, and he has no thinking capacity. He will think everything reverse. Whatever good, it will look bad for him, and whatever bad things are there, it will look good for him. That is the nature of a person who is in ignorance. Generally, these ignorant people or the mode of darkness, it will drag one to the animal kingdom, or he will be born as an animal in the next life. How this is happening, you can take the example, people who have got addicted to the alcohol or tobacco or some drugs. If you see, what they think, these all are making me happy, but it is not so. They are thinking, by consuming alcohol, I am becoming happy, and if I give up this alcohol, I will be suffering. Because sorry for the disturbance. So that is a person who is in darkness, he'll be thinking that by consuming these drugs or alcohol, I'll become happy. So he's thinking the reverse order. And why it is called as madness? Madness means the person is working hard for suffering. He is working so hard, and he is spending whatever money he has earned for getting these drugs or the alcohol, and he is spoiling his life, he is spoiling his health. And after spoiling the health, he will go to doctor and he will get some bitter medicines, or he will get surgery, or a lot of pain is there when he is hospitalized. And then he gets cured, and again he will start the old habits once again. So that is madness. And even after doing all these things, if he gives up his body, then will he get some better position or better happiness? No. It is not that, oh, you have suffered so much in your whole life, at least after death you will become happy. No. Yamadutas are waiting to take him to the hell, because a person who has taken alcohol, for him the molten lava will be poured on his mouth. It is such a big punishment that is given, and for different kinds of sin that he has committed. Because when a person gets intoxicated, he will commit so many offenses. He will, when he is there in the society, in the intoxicated state, he will insult so many people, or he may commit murder, or so many crimes that he may commit. For all those things, he will get punished. That is called madness. You are working hard to get punished. This is nothing but madness. So that is the mode of ignorance. It's not so easy to come out of these modes. We have the choice to choose the mode in which we should be. It is like you have three dogs. You have 3 dogs in your house, and which dog you feed, that dog becomes very powerful. And if you feed goodness, then goodness grows. If you feed the passion, then the passion will grow. Or if you feed the ignorance will grow. So now what is this feeding? Feeding means what kind of lifestyle we adopt. If you are regularly getting early in the morning, and if you are having a very sattvic lifestyle, eating only sattvic food, then it will feed the goodness within us. Or if I'm working too hard for getting material possessions, then it will feed the passion within me. And if I'm feeding the ignorance by getting intoxicated, then the ignorance will grow. Now, once a person comes under these 3 modes, then these 3 modes only will decide how you have to act. We cannot expect an intoxicated person to behave well when we approach him for something, when we go and talk to him. Why? Because he has already surrendered himself in the mode of ignorance. And a person who has developed the consciousness in the goodness, he'll be always speaking politely, and he will always know how to behave with other people. In this way, the 3 modes will bind us in different activities. Sattvam sukhe sanjayati, raja karmani bharata, jnanamavritya tu tamaha, pramade sanjayati iti uta. O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditioned one to happiness. So happiness is also conditioning. Passion conditions to fruitive action, that is working for the result. And ignorance, which covers one's knowledge, it will bind him with the madness. These are the 3 modes which bind us in different ways. Now, how to recognize whether I am in Sattva-guna, or am I in Rajoguna, or I am in Tamoguna? How can I recognize these 3 modes? That is explained by Krishna. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. And sometimes mode of passion defeats the other 2, goodness and passion. And sometimes ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always a competition for supremacy. So all the 3 modes are present within us. but it is in our choice whom we have to empower or whom we have to give the energy. We cannot expect ourselves to be in goodness if we are developing or if we are cultivating a lifestyle of tamoguna or darkness or ignorance. That is not possible. If I am developing the mode of passion, then I will be passionate. If I develop the goodness mode of goodness, then I will be in goodness only. So we cannot expect some other result for doing different activity. Just like if you are what kind of seed you put, that kind of crop only you can get. Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidyat vivruddham sattva iti uta. Now, how can I know? Am I in sattva-guna or am I in rajoguna or am I in tamoguna? In which mode am I present? These things can be explained or it can be understood by observing ourselves. So what we can observe? The manifestations of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. What is this illuminated by knowledge? We have 9 gates in our body: eyes, ear, nose, mouth, genitals, and anus. These are the 9 gates. Now, all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. That means whatever we see only the good things, or we'll only do the illuminating or knowledge activities. Whatever we hear only the good things. We don't hear bad things. Or whatever we smell or whatever we eat, all the 9 gates of the body, it will be used for doing the activity which are in goodness. That is the symptom of a person who is in goodness. If a person is listening to some tamasic activities, or if he is listening to some of the music which is giving him, which will drag him to the tamoguna or rajoguna, then we cannot call him as he is in goodness, because the gates of his body is not illuminated with the knowledge. If you observe yourself, if you are strongly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra regularly, the old habits, if it comes to your remembrance, then you will just spit at that thought. It's like devotees, when they become devotees, later on, they don't go to movies. Why? Because the eyes, the gates of their body, it has been illuminated with the knowledge. That knowledge will tell you, oh, what are you doing now? This is not supposed to be done by you. It will warn you. You should not do this. So that knowledge, it will empower you to be always in goodness. But of course, it is in your hand. If you want to really get degraded, then you can neglect this voice of the goodness or the knowledge, and one can drag himself to the tamoguna or rajoguna. That is possible. But when a person is determined to be in the goodness, then all his the gates of his body, it is illuminated by the knowledge, and it will not allow him to do any bad activities. He is strongly situated in the goodness. Next, coming to the rajoguna. Lobha pravritti arambha. Karmanam ashama spriha. Rajasi etani jayante vivruddhe bharatarshva. O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, then what are the symptoms? Great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering. These are the things which develop. People will hanker for something in such a way that they are ready to give up their life for that. People commit suicide for small things. Small children, they commit suicide just because, oh, my mother did not give me the TV remote, the child goes and commits suicide. This is such a small reason, but the desire for having that object is so strong that it will take them to suicidal tendency. The attachment becomes so strong that he will forget what he has. This is one of the symptoms in our life. When we lose something, or when we are not able to get something because of any providence, we don't have the pious credit for that, getting that, or there are a number of reasons why we don't get the result when we act with even after so much of endeavor. But without understanding that, forgetting all the benefits that I'm having in my life, for one single reason, the person will do so many wrong activities. This is the symptom of a person who is in passion. They get very easily angry, and they will not be able to see the situation as it is. They will not be able to think before acting. They give their action, or they give themselves in the hand of anger. And in that anger, they will make so many activities which can harm others. And after that, everything is over, then only lamentation remains. They can't do anything else. This is the symptom of a person who is in passion. Next comes ignorant. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. This is not difficult to understand. There is no much explanation needed for this. The person is always lazy, and he is not ready to work hard. He is trying to encroach on others' property. These all are just like, I just want to maintain myself. And for this, if somebody helps me, it is nice. If somebody doesn't help, I will just be like this. I will not make use of this energy or whatever I have. This kind of people who are in ignorance, who are lazy, who are mad, who are addicted to so many bad habits, this is the symptom of a person who is in ignorance, darkness, mode of darkness. Now, living this life with these kind of symptoms, if a person dies at the end of life, then what will happen? If he dies in the mode of goodness, he will go to the higher planets, like the great sages. If a person performs bhakti, then there is a chance of going back to Godhead. And if a person practices bhakti, and at least if he is able to come to the mode of goodness, then a human form of body is guaranteed in the next life, at least. Or if he is not able to complete his devotional life, then he may go to the higher planets, and he will enjoy the pious credit that he has performed. So these are the examples for mode of goodness. Then comes rajas, that is, when one dies in the mode of passion, he will come back to the, he will take birth among the fruitive activities, and in the ignorance, when he dies, he will go to the animal kingdom. Now, these all are just like, there are a number of material bodies, as we have already heard. Krishna has made so many colors, and whatever color we like, we can choose. It's all combination of basic 3 colors. So if I have developed a desire for working very hard, then I will definitely get a body where I get that opportunity to work very hard. If I keep this passionate person in this heaven or higher planetary system, where a person becomes very happy, but he has no opportunity for acting fruitively, then there he will become lethargic. He will not suit that to that environment. So it is not artificially elevating someone from passion to goodness. If we keep a person in the passionate mode, who has developed the passionate mode, and if you keep him in the mode of goodness, in the environment of goodness, he will feel boring. He'll not be able to adjust to that situation. He'll make that situation also rajasic, or he will create the difficulty, problem for those people also. So it is the mercy of the nature to create a proper environment so that everyone will become happy. Everyone will get the desired object. If I want to sleep for 6 months, then the person will get the body of a bear, polar bear. Just go and sleep, no problem. And if somebody want to become very active, he'll get the body of a tiger or a monkey. If a person is very lethargic, he wants to sleep always, and if he gets the body of a monkey, then his desire is not fulfilled. So we should not think that the nature is making any injustice to us. Or why nature is keeping somebody in the monkey body, somebody in the bear's body, somebody in the fish body. It is not the nature which is doing. It is we only who are choosing. That's why prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. So we are the doers and we are not the doers. How? Because whatever desire we develop, accordingly, the nature is providing us the opportunity. So who is the real doer? The nature is the doer, but the living entity is the one who makes it happen. One who is desiring. Now, if a child is asking for ice cream, who is the person buying ice cream? It is parents. Who is making it possible for the child to eat ice cream is the parent. But who is the cause of that purchase? It is the child. And who is the sufferer? It is the child. If the child gets cold, it is for the child, not the mother. Mother will not get cold if the child eats ice cream. That will not happen. The punishment goes to the living entity. So everything begins with the mode of the material mode in which we keep ourselves. That's why the Vedic lifestyle, it will teach everyone how to develop goodness or how to change our lifestyle. The sages, the great acharyas, they have given the instruction how a person living a normal life, day-to-day life, he can come to the level of goodness and he can exceed or he can go beyond the mode of goodness so that he will be able to go back to Godhead. That's how our life is formed. But we neglect all those instructions and we get entangled. So what is the root cause of our problem? That is our own activity, our own desires. Now the result of these activities, the result of pious action is pure. It is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. It is always good to do activity in the mode of goodness. Even though it is binding, you will be in a safe zone. But if you are performing activity in the passionate way, then there is little bit difficulty, misery. And a person who is in ignorance, he is a fool. Why it is called as fool or madness? Because he is using his own energy to degrade himself. I am cutting myself or I am killing myself. That is madness or foolishness. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance develops foolishness, madness, and illusion. So these are the result of three modes. Urdhvam gacchanti sattvastha, madhye tishtanti rajasa, gaganna gunavrittista, adho gacchanti tamasa. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those who are mode of passion live in the earthly planets, and those who in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish world. So it is better to develop goodness, and it is best to transcend all the three modes. Transcending three modes is not within our hand. We need the help of Krishna. Because the activity in the mode of goodness and the activity in the beyond the three modes, it will almost look similar. If we want to cook for the Lord, we should be in the mode of goodness. And when you offer this to Lord, then it will become free from all the three modes. So the mode of goodness and the nature where we are free from all the three modes, it is almost similar. It looks very similar. In the mode of goodness, if you bring Krishna there, it will become transcendental. And it is very easy to bring Krishna to our life when we are in the mode of goodness. So in that way also, it is always good to endeavor for developing the mode of goodness. Now, who is the doer? Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yadha drashtanupashyati gunebhyascha param vetti madbhavam sodhigacchati. When one properly sees that all the activities, no other performer is at work than these modes of nature are, and he knows the Supreme Lord who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. So this is the fact, what Krishna is explaining here. When a person sees that these modes are the one which is performing the activity, I am not the doer, and Krishna is also not the doer. It is the modes of material nature, the goodness, passion, and ignorance is the doer, and we are the one who is making the nature to act in certain way. One who understands this, he will go back to Godhead. Krishna is giving the ultimate benefit for those people. He will develop the spiritual nature. When a person is in goodness, he will get a lot of pious credit, and this pious credit will help him to advance in spiritual life. It is like when a person in goodness, if he thinks of going to temple or let me go and attend some class of Bhagavad Gita, it is very easy for him. Why? Because he is already in happiness and he is already having the freedom. And he can go wherever he wants. But when a person is in ignorance or in Rajoguna, the passion, if he is planning to liberate himself, it takes some time. It will not happen immediately because his activity or his pious credit is not enough for him to come to the platform of spirituality, because he doesn't have that credit. But if we already have the credit of Sattva-guna or goodness, you can choose either you want to practice Krishna consciousness or you want to go back to the mode of passion or ignorance that is there within the person's capacity. Gunanetan atityatrim dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkhair vimukto amritam ashnute. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life itself. This is the result of developing or freeing oneself from the mode of three modes. When a person, he transcends all the three modes, it's like a person is in the Vaikuntha. The birth, death, old age, and disease, these things will not affect him. When he is in this world itself, he will enjoy the oneself being in the transcendental world. Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatat Bhakti Rahaitu Kirpai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking. The life after life, I want the devotion to Krishna. Because devotion to Krishna means I am already in Vaikuntha. I am already in Goloka. I am already in Vrindavana. There is no separately going there. The person will bring the Vaikuntha there itself, wherever he is. Now Arjuna is asking question here. This is Arjuna asks questions for our benefit. So he is asking for example. Just like in the second chapter, Krishna explains the nature of a Sthita Prajna. At that time, Arjuna asked, Krishna, can you give some example of Sthita Prajna, his activities? Similarly, Arjuna is asking for again this question for our sake. Oh my Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior and how does he transcend the modes of nature? In the previous shloka, Krishna has explained what are the symptoms of a person in goodness, symptoms in passion, and symptoms in ignorance. These symptoms are already explained. Now we are learning the symptoms of a person who has transcended the three modes. And transcending three modes is only possible by the mercy of the Lord, that is through devotional service. So there are 22, 23, 24, 25. These are the four shloka which will explain how the living entity is getting liberated from the three modes of material nature. Anybody would like to read this can raise their hand. Yeah, Pooja Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead says, O son of Pandu, he who does not have illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are the active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal towards the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all the material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the mode of nature. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So these are some of the symptoms and behavior of a Gunatita, or a person who is beyond the three modes of nature. Here, one thing we should understand, the Lord is always beyond the three modes of nature. This we have heard many times. Either goodness, passion, or ignorance, it will not touch the Lord. It is not only for the Lord, anybody who worship the Lord, he will also be free from the three modes of material nature. So what to speak of the Lord? So whenever we hear any pastime of the Lord, we should not think that the Lord has performed it under the action of any mode, because he is beyond this. And here it is very clear that anybody who worship him, they themselves also not affected by these three modes. Then how can the Lord comes under the modes of nature? That is impossible. So what are the symptoms and behavior of the person who has transcended the modes? So he does not hate the illumination. He who is does not hate illumination, attachment, delusion when they are present, or long for them when they are disappeared. That means they are not attached to anything. The devotees of the Lord, whether the Lord gives them very wonderful life, or the life is very happy, pleasurable, or it is the life is leading very nicely, then they don't get attached to it. They know that all these facilities are coming because of the mercy of the Lord, and they don't get attached. And also, when it is not there, they will not get they will not hate it. They don't get disturbed. So whether they are kept in the heaven or in the palace, they are happy. And if they are kept in the forest, then also they are happy. When Pandavas were there in the palace, they always worship the Lord. They always did all the activities for pleasing the Lord. Yudhishthir Maharaj, he brought the Vaikuntha to the earth, even when he was in the Indraprastha. The war has not yet happened. They got their kingdom. They got the Khandavavana, and that Khandavavana was given to them because it was a barren land. Next, they only had Krishna with them. Because of Krishna, they could convert that Khandavavana into Indraprastha, and there he ruled in such a way that the entire kingdom was like Vaikuntha. And when they went to the forest for 12 years, there also they had a wonderful association of the sages, and they led a very peaceful life. So whether in the heaven or in the hell, the devotee is always happy. Then, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities. They clearly know that all the distress that is coming to me, it is because of the reaction that I have performed. Whether I get good or bad, it is all the reactions. So nothing to get disturbed. He is always neutral and transcendental. The modes are only acting. I am not the doer. Situated in self, regards alike happiness and distress. Sometimes happiness comes, sometimes distress comes. This is the nature of this material world. Anybody can observe their life. Just see, we will get some happiness in our life. Then next to that, there will be some distress. And next, there will be some happiness. Next, there will be some distress. This is present in each and every person's life. By this, what we can understand, it is like the rainy season and the winter season and the summer, how it comes. It's like a cycle. It keeps coming and going. Matra sparshaastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agama payino anitya tan titikshasva bharata. Agama payino, it comes and goes, it comes and goes. When there is rain, we will adjust, we will hold the umbrella or we will take the raincoat and we will continue our life. And when there is summer, we use different kind of lifestyle and we'll continue our life. And when there is winter, we'll take whatever facility needed, then we'll continue. We don't sit and cry, oh, now rain has come, or now winter has come, what can I do? No, people will continue. Similarly, when there is some desirable activity or desirable situation, the person will not get disturbed, or undesirable situation, still he is always remain neutral. Next, who looks upon a lump of earth, stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye. So how to understand this? Lump of earth. Okay, that is available everywhere. A stone, it is also available. But gold is not available everywhere. Gold, we are attached to it. But mud, nobody is caring. But what is gold and what is mud? The place where we are sitting now, this is also containing gold. The earth has content of gold, elements of gold everywhere. But the difference is we cannot extract it. The extraction of this gold will become more expensive than the cost of the gold in the market. That's why we cannot remove it. If you take so many tons of mud together, then we'll get few grams of gold from it. That is the one which makes the gold so expensive. But what is the result of this gold? We cannot use this gold, or we cannot take this gold with us when we are leaving this body. or we cannot eat this gold. You may sell it and get some money. The person who is transcended the three modes of material nature, he will see both together. The gold is also coming from earth only. So what is the difference? He will see both things together. And desirable, undesirable, whatever things happens, he will always remain in steady state. And if somebody praises him, he will not get too much into happiness, because he knows whatever he is praising, it is not for me. Because I am not the doer. Then how can you praise me? If somebody is blaming me, I am not the doer, then how can you blame me? So he knows both places that I am not the doer. It is the modes which are acting. Either somebody honors me or dishonors me. I don't take it personally, or the person is always situated sthita prajna. For a friend and enemy, he is same. If a friend comes, he will help him, and if even an enemy comes to him, he will take him in the same spirit. He doesn't have the enemy. Next, renounced all the material activities. Whatever activity that a devotee does. So when we say a person who has transcended the three modes, it is understood that he is a devotee. Unless a person is devotee, he cannot transcend the three modes of material nature, because Krishna has told, Mama Maya Duratyaya, Daivi Esha Gunamayi, Mama Maya Duratyaya, Mamayeva ye prapadyante Mayametam Tarantite. If you want to transcend the three modes, there is only one way, one and only way is to surrender to Krishna. So when we are saying that a person who has transcended the three modes, it is understood that he is a devotee of the Lord. So he has renounced all the material activities. Whatever activity a devotee performs, it is always transcendental. So in this way, the person has transcended all the three modes of material nature. Now Krishna is explaining how through the three modes a person can transcend the material nature. Because after telling all these things, if he doesn't tell the path how we can achieve that, it will be incomplete. After glorifying so much about the person who is in the state where he is free from all the three modes, he also explains how one can achieve that mode. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the three modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So just by doing devotional service, a person can develop all the good qualities that are listed previously. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvai gunaistate samasate sura. That is the nature. When we bring a candle to a dark room, it will illuminate. Similarly, when we bring Krishna to our heart, he will illuminate our life. He will remove all the misgivings. He will remove all the bad habits from us. Our life becomes clean. When a person comes to the devotional life, he will give up all the bad habits. This is practically seen when Prabhupada went to America. The people were drug addicts. They are called as hippies. They were doing all kinds of sinful activities. And the government was spending a lot of money to bring them out of this drug addiction. They could not do it. But Prabhupada, he used the holy name of the Lord. Just by chanting the holy name of the Lord, just by practicing Krishna consciousness, by doing the Sankirtan, people gave up all the bad habits. It was really a magic. The whole government could not do it, but Prabhupada alone did it. That is the magic of Krishna consciousness. Even here also we can see many people, when they come to temple, they will be having some bad habits, either alcoholic or smoking, some bad habits will be there. But if they come regularly, practice Krishna consciousness, unknowingly they will give up all these bad habits. And on the contrary, when a person reduces their practice of Krishna consciousness, automatically all these bad habits will grow within them. It's like a land. When you're cultivating, you will get the crop. And when you don't cultivate it, it will grow the weeds. It is natural. So if you are cultivating Krishna consciousness, then these three modes cannot touch us. And if we are going away from Krishna, automatically the Maya will catch us, because we cannot remain free. Either we have to serve Krishna or we have to serve Maya. Serving is our nature. So whom we have to serve, that is in our hand. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the continuational position of ultimate happiness, constitutional position of ultimate happiness. So when a person gets liberated from the three modes of material nature, he is coming to the platform of Brahman, that is the beginning of spiritual realization. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti Shabdyate. And that Brahman is the impersonal Brahman. Krishna is the basis for that. Brahmano hi pratishtaham, amritasya avyasya cha, shashvatasya cha dharmasya, sukhait saikanti satsya cha. What Krishna is telling here? The Brahman or Brahma Jyoti, it is the effulgence from the body of the Lord. So Krishna is the basis for this impersonal Brahman. So when we practice Krishna consciousness, the Brahman platform is already included within that. In this way, we have seen the 14th chapter in brief. Let us continue to the PPT. The Bhagavad Gita chapter 14 explains how conditions, how the three modes conditions us, its characteristics, symptoms, destination after death for three modes, and results of action in these three modes. All these things we have studied. Lata Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
If therefore the mode of passion, instead of being degraded into the mode of ignorance, is elevated to the mode of goodness by the prescribed method of living and acting, then one can be saved from the degradation of wrath by spiritual attachment. Bhagavad Gita 3.37 purport. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So all these chapters of Bhagavad Gita, what we can see, every chapter is ending with the devotion to Lord. First, it will tell what is the problem, and then it will tell what is the solution, and what are the symptoms of a person who has achieved that solution, and then it will tell how to achieve it. That is the devotion to Krishna. So this is a systematic way of explaining the topic by Krishna. Tada rajastamo bhava kamalobhadayasche chetayetara vidyam stitam sattve prasidati. This is the Bhagavatam shloka. Vijay Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.19, quoted in 7.1 purport. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So by hearing the transcendental pastimes of the Lord continuously, our heart becomes clean and we come to the mode of goodness and we can eternally become happy. Mamchayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityayetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. This is the 26th shloka of this same chapter. Nandita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am. Hare Krishna.
One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Bhagavad Gita 14.26. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So, practice of Krishna consciousness is the solution for all the problems. Puja Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Quality of goodness will automatically be there. This Krishna consciousness movement is directly offering the spiritual platform which is above the mode of goodness. The quality of goodness will automatically be there. Any person who is in Krishna consciousness, his quality of goodness, namely he does not indulge in the illicit sex life, he does not smoke even or take tea or coffee, even he does not eat any forbidden food stuff, neither he takes part in unnecessary gambling. So good character is immediately there. Bhagavad Gita 2.40 to 45, Los Angeles, December 13, 1968. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. So, artificially giving some activity is very difficult. But when it comes naturally, it becomes very easy. When we practice Ekadashi, it is not recommended for everyone to fast Nirjal. Why? Because unless you practice Krishna consciousness properly and you advance in that, it becomes very difficult. But for the people like Goswamis, it is very natural. They take very little food once in 2 days or 3 days. For them, it is because of so much of love for Krishna, they will do it very easily as a mercy of Krishna. Just like Prabhupada, he was sleeping for 3 to 4 hours and he was getting up in the middle of night and translating this Bhagavad Gita for our benefit, because he has that intense devotion to the Lord. The devotional service that he was doing, it will not become a burden for him. It becomes quite natural because they got the mercy of the Lord. Same way, before we increase our practice of austerity, we should first develop devotion. So when we develop the devotion to Krishna, the austerity, it becomes quite natural. Otherwise, it becomes very tiresome, or a person will feel a lot of pain. But when we receive the mercy of the Lord, then naturally the person will develop the qualities of a Mahatma or the qualities of demigods. That becomes very easy. That's why the practice of austerity, it is recommended first a person should chant properly, then he should hear properly, and one should associate with the devotees properly. Then he has to engage in the activities, engage in the devotional service nicely. Then a person, if he is capable, he can do Nirjal or he can do a lot of other activities in the devotional life. That means actually when we say upavas means it is to come near to the Lord. It is not that just fasting or not eating something. We don't eat because we are very busy at that time. On the day of Ekadashi, people are busy in chanting. We have no time for chanting only, then there is no time for eating. And if you are only cooking food and doing all these activities as regular activities, then our devotional service will not increase. So this day of Ekadashi or the Upavasa, that Upa means go nearer to the Lord, Vasa means to stay nearer the Lord. That becomes very successful, or it is actually meaningful when we really do some devotional service instead of only performing certain austerity. So here Prabhupada says, the person will easily give up this illicit sex, drinking coffee, tea, all these things. There is no separate endeavor that is needed for giving up all this. Just practice, just chant, just be sincere in your life. Just be sincere to Guru and Krishna. Rest all things will happen, because I am not the doer. The austerity also, whatever we are performing, it is not because of me. I am not capable of doing any austerity. I cannot control this body. I cannot bear the pain of the hunger. That is not possible. Or I cannot bear the pain of the urge of the senses. I cannot control the senses. But only by engaging the senses in the service of the Lord, by engaging the oneself in the devotional service of the Lord, one can elevate himself in the to the transcendental platform. So without coming to the transcendental platform by practically doing the devotional service, this we study in the next nectar of devotion. What are the different angas of bhakti? Without doing that, if a person artificially tries to imitate great devotees, then it is of no use. He will fall down because it is an immature way of imitation. So we should follow the great devotees or pure devotees of the Lord, and one should not imitate them. Lata Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Save humanity from the greatest danger. The present human civilization is, of course, grossly misled by the modes of passion and ignorance. It is very dangerous age, and all nations should take care to provide the easiest process, the Krishna consciousness, to save the humanity from the greatest danger. Bhagavad Gita 14.16. Papa. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Prabhupada is giving the solution for all the problems. This is the real solution for the problem. It can solve every problem that is present in the material world. As Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, there is no scarcity for anything. We have everything in the material world. Krishna has given everything. But the only scarcity is Krishna consciousness. If we bring this Krishna consciousness, then all the problems will be solved. Vinamra Mataji.
Because people have no education in actual knowledge, they become irresponsible. To stop this irresponsibility, education for developing the mode of goodness of the people in general must be there. Hare Krishna.
This is the need in the education system. When we educate the children at the very beginning of their life, what is the purpose of life is go back to Godhead. Then even though the person, he will get into family life and he will be acting in the material world for gaining so many household activities, but still the desire for serving Krishna remains within the heart. And as soon as the person is free from all the responsibilities, he will run back to Krishna. He will again start his devotional service wherever he has stopped, or he is continuing in a certain small way. He will improve the devotional service to Krishna. But otherwise, what happens? The person doesn't know what is the meaning of this life. Why did I born as a human being? That question itself is not answered. Then the person, even after retiring, after the age of 60, 65, again he will take up another job and he will continue to earn money. I made money for my son, I made money for my grandson. Now let me make money for my great grandson. That is the only only goal that he has. So make money more and more. And what happens? Are they becoming happy? His great grandson and his grandchildren? No, they will fight for that money. And they will also suffer. So without knowing what is the real solution, the person is getting misled and he doesn't do anything for himself. He only did so much of sinful activities and the Yamadutas are waiting for him to take to the hell. So that is the Prabhupada is telling, save the humanity. Raghunath Prabhu.
Even if the majority of the people aren't happy and prosperous, if a certain percentage of the population develops Krishna consciousness and becomes situated in the mode of goodness, then there is a possibility for peace and prosperity all over the world. Bhagavad Gita 14.17. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you. Once somebody asked Prabhupada, you are spreading Krishna consciousness so fast in this world. So what will happen if everyone takes to Krishna consciousness? If everyone becomes devotees, then how can this world can run? This was the question of that person. And Prabhupada says, what is the problem? If everyone becomes Krishna conscious, it's good for the society. And Prabhupada says, don't worry, people like you will not become Krishna conscious. There are people who are very stubborn, they will not become Krishna conscious. Even though it is given very easily, still people don't take to it. So Prabhupada is telling, if you make a small percentage of people into Krishna conscious also, the whole world can change. Because the real Brahmana means Brahmana by nature, they are always less in number. The Kshatriyas are more and Vaishyas are more than that, and Shudras are even more in number. If you see the hierarchy, it's like a pyramid. The people who are guiding the society, they are very less in number. But if you make a small percentage of these devotees, just like 1%, 1% of the population of whole world becomes devotees, that can change the situation. It can change the world completely. Prabhupada has predicted this. As Prabhupada says, all the people who are in the government office, they will go to the job with the tilaka on their forehead. So that way, their day will come. We don't know, it will happen within our lifetime or it may happen in future. But definitely, this Krishna consciousness will grow to such an extent that everyone become devotee. Everyone is a devotee in the world. So that is the prediction of what Srila Prabhupada told. So make 1% into devotee. Whoever coming in contact with you, whoever there in your family, in your society, in your neighbor, in the place of work, whoever comes in contact with you, spread Krishna consciousness, give Bhagavad Gita to them, bring them to the classes, give them Prabhupada's books, and make them at least eat Krishna Prasadam. Somehow or other, give them the mercy of the Lord. Then there is a chance to make this entire world into Vaikuntha. Otherwise, this world will not be happy for anyone. Krishna, he will not give happiness to the people who forget him. The Krishna will only maintain those, or Krishna, we can say the Mother Earth, she will maintain only those people who are obedient to Krishna. Otherwise, she will not produce food grains. This example is there in Bhagavatam. There was a king called Vena. He told, there is no God, I am the God. You have to worship me only. Don't do any sacrifice, don't do any yajna, stop all these things. Then what happened? The Mother Earth stopped producing any food grains. People were putting the grains in the land, but it was not coming out. No crop, nothing. So such kind of situation will come if there is no devotee. So if we, at least if you want to become happy also, we should make more and more devotees. We should make more and more people obey to the Lord. People should become Krishna conscious. Then it will improve the situation. So what are the things we have studied under this lesson? Overview of chapters 13 and 14, and entanglement of the living entity in the three modes, and overview of conditioning of the three modes for a living entity, and how to transcend the three modes of material nature. All these things we have studied. And what are the applications? Ways personally influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance with reference to the Bhagavad Gita. Listed practical ways how one can develop mode of goodness, and also statements from Prabhupada's purpose for this chapter 14. How reflect his mission. His mission is to make more and more devotees. Make at least 1% of the 1% is not small. If you have 1 lakh, you can remove only 2 zeros from that. Then it becomes 1%. So if you have 5 lakh people, you should have 5,000 devotees. For every 5 lakh population, you should have 5,000 devotees. Don't think that it's very small number. It's a big number, 1%. So if you have 1% of the population becoming Krishna conscious, it will change this world. Akhila Mataji.
Hare Krishna Guruji.
Mataji, you are not audible.
Or not audible?
Little now it's
okay. By understanding this knowledge, various great sages attained perfection and transferred to the spiritual world. The Lord now explains the same knowledge in a better way. This knowledge is far superior to all other process of knowledge, thus far explained. And knowing this, many attain perfection. Thus, it is expected that one who understands this 14th chapter will attain perfection. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So Prabhupada is explaining, don't think that you are the first person to receive this knowledge, and don't think that you are the last person to receive this. There are many people who has taken advantage of this knowledge and they have gone back to Godhead. And in future also, there will be millions of people who come and take the advantage. So you are also one among them. So take advantage of this knowledge which is given by Krishna, which is given by Prabhupada, and make your life successful. Or you can remain within this material world as continuing whatever lifestyle you have. Just like when the river Ganga, when it is flowing, when a person goes and takes bath in that, he gets benefited. And if you don't care for it, there is no loss for the river. It's loss only for me. So when Prabhupada is giving all this knowledge to us, and Krishna is distributing the knowledge through Arjuna, if we don't take this seriously, even after knowing what is to be done, what is not to be done, and it is like knowingly drinking poison. Janiya Shuniya Vishakain. Manushya Janmapaya, Radha Krishna Nabhajiya, Janiya Shuniya Vishakain. Knowingly drinking poison. Because we know what is correct and we know what is wrong, but still I don't practice it. That is like drinking the poison. That is the mentality of Duryodhana. What Duryodhana says, I know what is correct, but I can't give up. I cannot follow it. And I know what is wrong, but I cannot give up. So that is the mentality of Duryodhana. So for such people, we can't say anything. But those who are intelligent, they will take the subject matter seriously and they will practice Krishna consciousness and they will go back to Godhead. With this, we have come to the conclusion of this today's chapter. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand and ask the questions in this chapter. In today's chapter or in the previous class. Yeah, Vijay Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I just need guidance. We discussed today the three modes of nature. So if we have to continue our bhakti in the next after death, then what is the mode that we should be? Because like goodness is also like a golden chain. You explained.
Yes, Prabhu. Don't try to get pious credit or pious activity, because making pious activity is also binding. We have the example of Nriga in Krishna book, you can find. He was giving lot of charity. So many cows he has given. But one small mistake he did, he donated one cow for two people unknowingly. You can read the entire story. Because of that, he had to become a lizard in his next life. It's such a great difficulty. So don't aim for goodness. You aim for bhakti. Bhakti includes the benefit of goodness. As Krishna says, even if you fail in bhakti, you will get the benefit of going to heavenly planet. He will arrange for it. Why we fail in bhakti? Because we have some material desire. And Krishna arranged for that. And after enjoying or suffering, whatever, we'll come back to this world and we can continue our devotional life. If we practice devotional life, at least human form of life is guaranteed. So there is no fall down. That means there is no loss. Neha bikramana shosti pratyavayo na vidyate. Salpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahatavaya. That is bhakti. Bhakti is the best thing to do.
Prabhuji, I had two more questions.
Yeah.
One is nowadays I'm just trying to take a holiday on Ekadashi, and I'm trying to sit in temple or at least at home and chant the entire day. But I'm not attending my office calls and everything. So whether I'm doing correct thing or not, because I'm in the next day the workload increases. So I try my best that at least my workload doesn't hamper due to this practice that I'm doing.
What you are doing is correct, Prabhu. You are making time, you are giving time for Krishna. So Krishna will give time for you. It's like Krishna says, Kalosmi, I am the time. So if we have time for Krishna, then Krishna will give us more opportunity to serve him. This you can see practically when if you read Bhagavatam, if you read Bhagavad Gita every day, even if you are busy, keep some time, keep some separately. Even if you are busy, you can do your work little faster, or you can postpone the work, not to escape from the work, but to do it later, and give that time some good quality time for Krishna. Then it will help us to improve in the devotional service. And all our bondage, what we call, this is just like whenever we have too much of work, it is like a bondage. This is all because of our previous activity or the reaction for our activity. The bhakti has the power to destroy that. It has the power to burn that reaction. Karmani nirdahati kintucha bhakti bhajam. As Brahma Samhita says, Yastvindra gopam athavendra mahosu karma bandhanu rupa phalabhajana matanoti. That means from the Indra, the heavenly planet, the king of heavenly planet, to the Indra Gopa. Indra Gopa is a small insect. All are enjoying the results of their activity. Karmani nirdahati kintuja bhakti bhajam. But if you practice Krishna consciousness, if you practice bhakti, it can destroy it. So if you are giving time to Krishna, then you don't have to suffer as much as you actually suffered without Krishna in your professional life. So it is always good to do whatever you are doing now. You can continue. Even though the little work pressure is more, if it is manageable, then it is better you continue in this way. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guruji.
Hare Krishna.
Guruji, I have started distributing the BGT magazines to a few of my colleagues, and 2 of them have become the subscribers also.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Hare
Thanks.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nandita Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, this in the 14th chapter, in the 3rd verse, it says it gives an example of a scorpion, an analogy of a scorpion. Yeah. And can you explain this again, Prabhu?
3rd chapter, 14th chapter, no? 14th chapter.
Yes.
Yeah, that is called
3rd one. The 3rd. Sorry, Prabhu?
Tandula Vrishchika Nyaya. It's a Nyaya.
Okay.
Just a minute. This Mama Yonir Mahat Brahma Tasmin.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Yeah, just a minute. Let me go there.
Sure, Prabhu. Prabhu, I just wanted to, that it says, before the analogy, it says all living creatures are born of this material nature, and superior nature is mixed by the will of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then later, after that scorpion example, it says every living entity according to that whole thing, Prabhu.
Yeah.
A little contradictory. I don't understand it.
What is contradiction, Mataji?
Prabhu, I'm confused about this material nature altogether in this verse.
This Prabhupada is trying to disprove the theory that the consciousness develops in a living entity when the body grows along with the body. That is not true. It is actually the consciousness which makes the body to grow, or the living entity, the Atma, the soul which is present within the body, which makes the body to grow. But the modern science says that when the body is growing at a particular time period, it will gain the consciousness, or it will gain the symptom of life. That means when the child within the womb of the mother, it has no life. And after some time, it will gain the life. So it will be like a license for killing the embryo. But actually, because there is a living entity, because there is a Jivatma within the soul within the body, when it is in the mother's womb, the child is coming out, or the body is growing. If there is no life, then the body will not grow. The example how it's given is Tandula Vrishchika, that is the pile of a grain or rice. From that, we can see there are some scorpions coming out. And the person who is in ignorance, he says, oh, this rice is giving birth to the scorpion. Now he makes a theory out of it, and he will get Nobel Prize. But actually what happens, the scorpion, mother scorpion has gone into that and it has laid eggs there. And that eggs are from that eggs, the small scorpions are coming out. But that he has not seen. He is not able to see. He is only thinking that from the grain, from the rice, the scorpion is coming out, and not that the mother scorpion has kept the egg there.
Yes.
So it's a wrong concept to be explained. That is Tandula Vrishchika Nyaya. There are so many Nyaya Shastra. In that, this is one of them.
Okay, Prabhu. Prabhu, I have one more very silly question. You mentioned Goswami and Sthita Prajna today, and we also learnt about Mahatma in the last module. Are all these three people the same kind or the same level, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. These are different wordings in Sanskrit. It is used. Mahatma Nastumam Partha Daivi Prakriti Mashrita. One who is to be called as Mahatma, he should be in Daivi Prakriti. That is, in the who has transcended the three modes of material nature. And Goswami means, if you're going by literal meaning, Go means senses, Swami means master. One who is the master of the senses is called as Goswami. You can understand the example. There was a child along with his parent, along with mother. The child sees someone is going in the street, and surrounding him there were so many soldiers. The mother is asking, who is that going? The mother says, he is a very big gunda of our city. He has been caught by the soldiers, and they are taking him to the king for punishment. Now, once again, the child sees another day, similar way, and the child shouts, oh mother, another person has come here. He has many more soldiers around him. Now the mother says, no, this is not a thief. This is a king himself. But he also has the soldiers around him. Yes, the difference is when the soldier are there around the thief is under the control of soldiers. But when the king is walking, the soldiers are under the control of king. So who is being controlled? That depends. So we are also having senses. Goswami is also having the senses. But we are being controlled by the senses. Goswamis are controlling their senses. So the one who is controlling their senses, they are called Goswami. And one who is under the control of the senses, they are called Godasa. So Goswami and Godasa, these are the difference. So Mahatma also, it is similar meaning.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I think Mataji Vinamra Mataji has one question. You can unmute yourself, Mataji. You can raise your hand.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.